Hello, you're watching 6 News on this Sunday evening. I'm Leonardo, Puglisi. The top stories we're following tonight. I did not lie. Victorian Animal Justice Party MP Andy Medic speaks in depth about the alleged attack on his daughter last year, denying claims he lied about it being politically linked, and admits his support of a controversial pandemic bill may cost him his seat. Daniel Andrews facing a challenge from one independent, but are 50 other candidates about to challenge him in the electorate of Mulgrave. The extraordinary proposal that could produce the longest lower house ballot paper in Australian history. Blue skies in New South Wales, but the flooding is not stopping people told to boil their water. Emergency warnings in place and rescue operations underway, including for a woman going into labour. And Twitter's $8 verification starts as Elon Musk reveals the social media platform will add a feature to attach long-form text to tweets. Good evening. A Victorian upper house crossbencher has admitted his support of a controversial pandemic bill last year may end up costing him his seat at the state election. Animal Justice Party MP Andy Medic played a key role in getting the legislation passed, something he told 6 News he stands by it. Medic also saying, "I did not lie" in regards to an alleged attack on his daughter last year, denying claims he lied about it being politically linked. Port Lincoln Holmes has the exclusive details.
Victoria's upper house is no stranger to MPs from parties across all sides of politics, and Andy Medic is one of those. He was elected as a member of the Animal Justice Party at the 2018 election for the Western Victorian region. Last year, he was one of the crucial crossbenchers who saw a controversial pandemic bill passed. A year later, Medic tells 6 News he stands by that decision, but admits it could cost him his seat.
Look, it may well cost me. That's the unknown at this point in time. But I do fully stand by it, yes. And I do appreciate that there was anger, but people have to understand as well that, look, from what I understand from the polling that's taken place in different places, we haven't done any ourselves, but what I've read in the various media outlets, the majority of Victorians stood by that legislation. They understood that we needed something different, something that was very much specific for a pandemic. And we hadn't ever been through one in our lifetime in Victoria. So, yes, the government made mistakes along the way, but they tried to correct them, and we tried to help them do that along the way as well.
Around the same time the bill was passed, his daughter was allegedly attacked. Medic said at the time he had reason to believe it could have been linked to his role as an MP. But on November 25th, police said they had no evidence it was politically linked. Medic says he stands by his original comments.
Now, the police media absolutely threw my daughter and myself to the wolves in what they put out in their first statement. I had a meeting with police media, with Shane Patton, the Commissioner, and with the Deputy Commissioner, where they apologised to me for that statement and then said they would instruct police media to put out another one correcting it. And they did so, but police media wrote it in their own way again, which didn't completely clarify it. People can say what they like on Twitter. They can say what they like in other social media that I lied. I did not lie. This is exactly what happened.
The Animal Justice Party had around 2.5% of the upper house vote in 2018 and 1.82% in the lower house, which was the fourth largest total when you combine the Liberal and National vote. The party will be running in every single seat despite the odds of them forming government being close to zero.
We're not expecting to form government. We don't want to form government. That's not what we're here for. We're here to represent the interests of those people that choose to elect us. Now, we may well pick up a couple of lower house seats, and we expect that the government is going to take a bit of a haircut in the lower house, but so is the opposition. So we want to be part of that decision-making process in the lower house. If we're lucky, we might get one or two. But in the upper house, we certainly want to have a far greater presence. You know, we'd like to see at least 2 and possibly more elected in the upper house.
Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
Multiple parties have now confirmed their full lineup in the upper house ahead of nominations for candidates closing. 6 News understands the latest parties to get their full tickets in are Labor, who are running 5 candidates in most seats, One Nation, the Companions and Pets Party, Shooters, Fishers, Farmers, and Sustainable Australia, while a couple others are close to it or have already got that full ticket, like the Vic Socialists. Minor parties tend to only run two candidates in the electorates, which have 5 MPs, simply because the chances of winning any more than that are close to zero. We also have our first batch of candidates from the New Democrats, set up by Labor turned independent MLC Kashulia Vagela. They're running in both houses. A Melbourne art collector has offered to pay the $350 nomination fee for 50 independent candidates in Dan Andrews' seat of Mulgrave in a move largely labelled as extraordinary and unprecedented. The amount of candidates being bankrolled by Andrew King would very likely see a high amount of informal votes contributing to the Vic Premier being returned to office. The main challenger right now is an independent, Ian Cook, but he would almost certainly struggle to win and get preferences if there are an additional 50 candidates. It would also see the largest lower house ballot paper ever in Australian history. Earlier I spoke to 6 News political editor Roman McKinnon for more on this from Brisbane.
It's quite interesting. I thought that maybe from being an outsider, a Queenslander, that Dan Andrews might lose the election, but of course, he has the power and the strong vote of the people to possibly secure another term as Victorian Premier, because especially what's been happening in the past couple of years, you had the long COVID lockdowns, of course, the CMFEU protests last year, all of that, the anti-vaccine, all of those protests and all of that. So it's quite interesting that Dan Andrews has the numbers, but of course, it's really quite interesting, yeah.
We are now hearing possibly 50, and you heard that right, 50 independent candidates could be effectively bankrolled, have the $350 nomination fee paid off by this one Melbourne art collector, which would take it to about almost 60 candidates total, which would be a record by far for any seat in Australian political history. Roman, what do you make of that? I just can't imagine the size of that ballot paper.
It's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, I feel bad for the people that would have to number the boxes, what, 1 through 60. I feel bad for the people of Mulgrave for this, but is it really necessary to have 50 people? It's obviously a safe Labor seat, and what are the chances even another candidate may win? It could be a higher chance if it was, say, Greens or something like that. But it's a safe Labor seat, and it would be a very, I wouldn't say impossible, but extremely, extremely unlikely.
This would split up the anti-Dan Andrews vote so much. And I suspect, by the way, because remember, if you miss one of those possibly 60 boxes, whole vote's informal. That I would suspect that would benefit Andrews a lot. Like, it would just be, if you want to get Andrews out, this is probably the worst thing you can do here. The absolute worst thing you can do by getting possibly 60 people on that ballot. So yeah, could this be an own goal of sorts if it does go ahead? Because again, we stress it's only been proposed, but you know, it really could happen. We're not ruling it out yet.
Yeah, well, even it kind of comes down as well to who draws on the ballot paper in Mulgrave, because a lot of people, if they see 60 people with what, a meter long ballot paper, I think they would just go 1 through 60 and not really care who they choose. Like,
yeah, imagine
honestly,
if Dan Andrews got first on the ticket. That it instant win, you know. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Just like that, within like five or so minutes, is the seat is called. No, but it's really interesting. Obviously, we have never seen something like this. The record is 22 seats, 22 candidates that were running in a single seat. I just don't see the logistics in running in Dan Andrews' seat. It is a very popular seat due to obviously Dan Andrews being the premier, but they don't really have a chance against a high profile person.
Yeah, and I honestly reckon that a fair few of those candidates would get absolutely no votes. Like literally 0 votes. And for an independent like Ian Cook, again, this high profile guy, it would just, affect him so much because you'd just be seeing all these, it'd all have independent next to all these names. You'd miss the one kind of major independent out there. You mentioned there, yeah, that record of 22, that was at two separate federal electorates. One was the Wills by-election in 1992. Most of them were independents or non-affiliated. That was actually won by an independent, might I add, from Bob Hawke's old seat. So there's a bit of trivia. The other one was 2009 Bradfield by-election. 9 of those candidates, though, were from the same party, the CDP, and that saw reform that basically banned running in more than one lower house electorate, with running more than one candidate from one party in a lower house electorate. If you did, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but just quickly, if we did have those 50 go ahead, do you reckon there'd be some kind of cap imposed, that we would see some reform come in that would effectively ban that from happening, be that banning someone from paying all the nomination fees, or banning more than a certain amount of candidates from running?
I think absolutely something has to be put into place by the AEC, even the VEC and state run electoral commissions, just like what we kind of saw in the federal election with the Teal independents. It's kind of on the same track. They've been backed or paid for by this one person. I think it's kind of after an election, we may see this one huge, famous, even celebrity just pay for all of these people, when we really seen anything like it? It's starting to come into the future of Australian politics, not just nationwide, but also at a state level, as we can see in the Victorian election.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up now, because again, it's $350 to nominate 50 candidates. According to my maths, which is actually just the Google calculator, $17,500 is how much this one guy would need to pay. And also, I'm pretty sure there needs to be signatures for all these candidates if they're an independent. I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking here. Just quickly, again, we saw that news poll earlier. Labor and the coalition neck and neck on 37% each first preferences, but Labor still has that pretty decent two-party preferred lead. Again, just under 3 weeks out now. What are you tipping for this election?
I'm just going to go pretty much with everyone else here. A Labor majority government. Also, just with the signatures, they may need, I don't know how many signatures they need, but they could probably use the other candidates as signatures. Just 50 signatures just on there, because,
Yeah.
why not? But yeah, I'm tipping a Labor, Andrews Labor majority government.
Blue skies have been seen across New South Wales, but the flooding is not stopping. Emergency warnings are right now in place in some areas, while residents in the central west town of Forbes have been told to boil their drinking water, with the Lachlan River reaching its peak. Rescue operations are underway, including for a woman who went into labour, with reports of first-time mother's waters broke while she was isolated. It's believed the flood crisis could last another week, with the clean-up operation going even longer than that. A teenager has died after a quad bike crash in northwestern Tasmania. Police confirm the 16-year-old boy was killed after a crash at Aldinia near Burnie yesterday overnight, dying in hospital. A 16-year-old female passenger was also taken to the Northwest Regional Hospital, but is now believed to be in a stable condition. Former and current US Presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden have spoken in Pennsylvania ahead of the crucial midterm elections, which will decide which party takes control of Congress. The high-profile Senate race there is between Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz, but there are a number of other key Senate races, including in Georgia and Nevada. Several other states will also go to the polls to elect their governors. That includes Arizona and Florida. 6 News will have special coverage of the US midterms next week. And for his take, you can watch our interview with former Libertarian vice presidential candidate Spike Cohen. That is available on Uncensored on our YouTube channel right now. Twitter has begun rolling out a controversial feature to pay $8 a month for verification. Elon Musk has also revealed today the social media platform will add a feature to attach long-form text to tweets. US correspondent Jackson Gosnell has more.
Well, Leo, a lot of changes at Twitter as Elon Musk takes over the social media giant. Now, many employees were laid off or fired, about 50% of Twitter's workforce just days ago. And Twitter seems to think that this is a really important move to increase revenue, as Twitter is not really profitable but has a lot of, money to pay out to their employees. So they cut the workforce by about half. They were not notified over a phone call or over a Zoom meeting. They simply got emails alerting them of their termination and were logged out of Twitter systems and capabilities related to the platform. So a lot of people really upset about that. I saw a tweet from some workers gathered in an elevator suggesting that it was their final photo together, as their team had really been kind of disassembled or done away with. And so a lot of changes happening on the platform itself as well, including changes to Twitter Blue. That is Twitter's paid service, which makes the app better by giving more features to those paid subscribers. Well, one of the new features that is reportedly coming out very soon, it was even listed as a part of the update to the app on iOS just hours ago, is the ability to pay $8 a month for one of those blue check marks. Now, 6 News and our team have those check marks to prove that our accounts are authentic. When people make imposter accounts, the goal is for people to know the authentic account of public figures. But Elon Musk apparently does not see that it will be a problem that anyone can buy a blue check mark. And there are reports that actual notable people and brands will have a different identifier on their account than the blue check mark. So it's really confusing. Will there be double verification? We don't know. But at any rate, a big change of Twitter Blue is announcing paid verification, which a lot of people believe defeats its purpose, because it essentially does. The whole purpose of the blue check mark is to show the authentic account, but if anyone can just pay for them, anyone can pay and pretend to be someone else. So it does kind of defeat the purpose, which is why so many people are outraged. In addition to the paid verification, Elon Musk is planning to bring long-form tweets as well to the platform, and a myriad of other features that users will likely find important and helpful in creating the best content. I'll continue to monitor the latest on Twitter and Elon Musk, but for now, here in the U.S., I'm Jackson Gosnell. Back to you.
South Korean authorities say North Korea has launched 4 short-range ballistic missiles into the sea. It's understood the missiles flew about 130 kilometres towards the country's western sea. Over 30 missiles have been tested by Pyongyang in the past few days, one even triggering evacuation warnings in Japan, while warplanes have also been flown within its territory. A flare gun has been blamed for a fire in the Russian city of Kostroma. Police say a drunk man in a bar may have fired the flare gun on the dance floor, with the resulting fire killing at least 15 people. It took over 50 firefighters and over 5.5 hours to extinguish the blaze. And now, as Ivan Melly in Perth, we'll look what's coming up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thank you, Leo. Tonight on WAMN News, we did it for Cassius, the motivation behind the emotional haka tribute of the 15-year-old boy's alleged murder. An exclusive interview coming up.
Disingenuous unions, the government's fighting words after the latest payoff a rejection from nurses and midwives.
Health Minister apologises for Sir Charles Gardner Hospital death mix-up.
Get a 6-figure job in 10 days, an exclusive tour of a leading First Nation organisation's new training facility, and later Dr Andrew Miller's comment. Join us tonight on WAMN News' Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Alright, thanks both Ivan and Melly there. Now let's head over to Melbourne, where our senior reporter Darby Travers has a look at tomorrow's weather forecast.
Yeah, that's right, Leo. Good evening to you and everyone tuning in at home. We are coming to you tonight from the beautiful Geelong, Victoria, and outside the brand spanking new Spirit of Tasmania terminal, the ship's new Victorian home after 27 years there in the city at Port Melbourne. A fantastic opportunity for the local economy here in Geelong to welcome the passengers, the tourists, to the local area, and indeed the Bellarine Peninsula, as we check in with our capital centres, your Monday forecast right across the country. And Brisbane Brisbane can expect a shower or two, getting to 25. A mostly sunny top of 23 up there in the harbour city of Sydney. Some showers increasing in Canberra. Finally, some nice warm weather on the way in Victoria. A sunny top of 26 here in Melbourne. Similar conditions in Hobart, warming up to a top of 30 in the city of Churches. Sunny in Perth, and Darwin expecting a warm top of 33. Leo, daily sailings between here in Geelong and of course Devonport down there in Tasmania. I've done it once before. No doubt a fantastic way to get yourself from A to B across the Bass Strait. For more information, jump on their website spiritoftasmania.com.au, Leo, as we throw back to you in the studio.
Darby Travers there, a reminder of the top stories we're following on 6 News this hour. And Victorian Animal Justice Party MP Andy Medic has denied claims he lied about an alleged attack on his daughter being politically linked, and has admitted the support of a controversial pandemic bill may cost him his seat. And there have been blue skies in New South Wales, but the flooding is not stopping. People in some areas are now being told to boil their water, with emergency warnings in place and rescue operations underway. And for the next 3 weeks, 6 News will have special election programming. Victoria Decides, with interviews with candidates and MPs, including some as yet unaired interviews with Family First, One Nation, Transport Matters, Reason, the Liberals, and more, so keep posted for that. And of course, Victoria Decides election night coverage will be live from 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on November 26. That is 6 News for this hour. There's more news 24/7 on our website, 6newsau.com, and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LID. Just search 6NewsAU to find us. I'm Leonardo Puglisi, and see you company. Good night.